TVO, I have a question for you. I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much for transferring from Oregon State.
Thank you.
But just how rigid Scott's offense was compared to the USC offense, are you feeling more comfortable now on this offense? And how did it feel having to switch from his offense to what Lindsay does over here?
Yeah, I think I'm playing a lot different position, asked to do a lot of different things in a very different role. Definitely used to being the primary scorer at the guard spot, so coming here I knew I was going to have to fill a lot of different other things, but I think that's what I wanted to prepare me for the next level. So yeah, it's definitely been different, but I definitely feel like after the Iowa game, Wisconsin, the last game, I feel a lot more in a rhythm, and I think everyone's kind of figuring out, how we can still continue to play better together. I think that's going to be the key to unlocking a deep tournament run. So I think we're all getting comfortable in having those conversations and figuring out how to play better together.
Juju has such a calm to her on the court. And obviously, she's had a couple games where she hasn't shot as well recently. How have you just seen her deal maybe with that frustration in real time while you guys are on the court together?
Yeah, I think just trying to support her and make sure that she knows that, she has us and not all the pressure is on her. I'm sure it could feel like the way of the world, with who she is, but just leaning into her teammates and making sure she knows that, she can have an off night and still do a lot of good things to contribute to a win. And then obviously when she has an on night, it's one of the greatest things in college basketball to watch. So, just making sure that she stays steady and just is who she is all the time.
Hey Talia, you coming in as a transfer along with Kiki and the freshman group. How are you guys embracing the rivalry going into the UCLA matchup?
Yeah, I think it's super cool. I come from a school that had a really big rivalry with Oregon, and it was always super personal and a week that you look forward to. So coming here, I didn't really realize how big the rivalry was. So I think it's super cool to be a part of, and obviously 2 top 10 teams. That's not common for a rivalry, so that just adds even more to it. And the fact that they're undefeated, it's at our place. I'm super excited, something I've never been a part of, so just looking forward to it.
And how are you taking in this moment, bringing 2 premier teams out of LA? You guys are going to be the center of conversation at any time?
Yeah, I think it's sold out, so hopefully, all the seats are filled, and it's cool to have a women's sporting event in LA that, like you said, will be the topic of conversation. So I think it's a big thing for women's basketball and for just the basketball scene in LA. So really big opportunity, so I hope we put on a show.
Talia, a lot of obviously moving pieces that had to come together quickly on offense this year to build something. How have you seen Lindsay just kind of navigate that throughout this year and try and put people in the best spots as you guys continue to kind of figure out where you guys like the ball, where you guys, fit best on the court?
Yeah, I think it's hard. We got to be adaptable all year. You have a lot of people that are used to probably playing bigger roles than we're all playing this year. So navigating that and just knowing what everyone can do and who they are, and just making sure everyone continues to be themselves. But also, celebrating when it's someone else's turn, to make a play or have a big night. So I think just continuing to lean into that. I think the Iowa game was good for us. You never want to lose, but I'm glad it was then and, not the Sweet 16 or Elite 8. So I think since that game, we figured out a lot of stuff and we're really coming together. So hopefully it shows up on Thursday.
What was Lindsay's messaging after that game, and what has her role been in fitting that kind of together?
Yeah, I think just similar messaging that she's had all year. I think at this point in the season, a lot of it has to come from the team. There's only so much that a coach can, kind of force onto you. I think a lot of those conversations and that energy towards each other has to happen organically and come from within. So, we've had some team meetings, team conversations, and just a lot of dialogue within the team over the last couple weeks, and I think that's really helped us and brought us closer. And I think we have a lot of talent, but there's so many more levels of the way that we play together that we can unlock. And I think we're only scratching the surface of how we can perform going into March.
Coming out of these practices and these games, how are you keeping yourself mentally just keeping going and keeping waking up every day to attack and go?
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a senior, so this is, all I got left, and just pouring into these last 2 months, trying to get ready for what lies ahead for me, and then also pouring into everything I need to do to get this team wins and accomplish what we want to as a collective. So, it's easy to wake up every day and come in and just be the best teammate I can be me, and just continue to unlock levels. Like I said, I think individually and as a group, like we can take so many more steps forward. So just continuing to work on that, and the love of the game is just kind of what drives all of us.
This team is obviously going to be the first of 2 meetings this season. You guys can maybe have a third one, but why is it important to make sure you guys get that first win over them?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously they're undefeated. They have a lot of momentum, and so I think for us, we obviously just dropped a game and we're kind of back on our upward trajectory of, I think we're growing a lot. I think we're kind of at a turning point, starting to put different pieces together and, like I keep saying, unlock new levels of play. So I hope that this week kind of galvanizes all that I've been talking about of bringing everyone together, and you know, what better week than rivalry week to really like put it all together and have a little bit of extra, you know, something to play for. So yeah, I think it's really important to get this win. Obviously we're down 1 in the standings, so if we want to win, you know, we need both of them. So can't win them both if we don't win the first one.
This team is 5-1 against ranked opponents. What does that kind of say how you all kind of step up to competition leading up to this game?
Yeah, I think we know who we are, and I think we go into every game not worried about matchups. We believe we can compete with anyone. We believe we can beat anyone. So we have a really high standard, and even after the Ohio State game, like there was no water bottles, there was none of that, even though it was a top 10 win, because that's what we show up and expect to do. Obviously still doing it with joy and celebrating those wins, but I think we just have a high standard and we expect that. So it's no surprise that we show up in those moments.
So you talked about being used to being a number 1 option at Oregon State and having that role, being a scorer. It's been, you know, an adjustment for you this year, being someone who, you know, suddenly you're contributing in all facets of the game, and maybe not as much taking 10 to 15 shots a night. Where are you in that process personally, and how has just this season been as an adjustment for you?
It's been really hard. I don't think it's a secret that I've kind of struggled. I think the last 2 games since Iowa, like I really turned a corner mentally of I just got to be myself, and whatever happens, happens, but I'm going to go out playing as hard as I can and doing all the little things. I think you can sometimes buy into a role so much that it diminishes kind of who you are and what you can do. And so just having conversations about that and getting back to kind of, you know, the player that I know I am and can be. So finding my times to, you know, just be me out there, but then knowing when it's my turn to just play defense or make the entry pass, and just finding that balance. I think I'm really focused on that. I've been working really hard, and I think going into March I'm going to be in a much better place. And right now I'm in a much better place than I have been over the course of the season. And those are the lessons I came here to learn, and I'm glad I'm learning them now and not at the next level. So I think it's only going to make me better. And you know, if I can figure it out and get through this, I know who I am and what I can do. So I'm excited to contribute in that way going into postseason.
What was the mental flip for you after that Iowa game, or what did you think about or realize or have a conversation about that brought you to that place?
Yeah, I think it was the first time I went to coach, and then we had some team meetings, and I really opened up about it. And I think for me, putting it all out there, talking about it, and just knowing this is my last year, I don't want to look back regretful that I didn't say anything, that I didn't make a change. And I know that you know, my level of play going into March can kind of make or break this team. I think I can be that X factor of, you know, if I unlock what I can be and who I can do, I think it'll take our team to another level and open things up for, you know, the amazing players that we do have. And so, yeah, I think I just kind of made that connection, and opened up and talking about it helped me. So I'm in a much better place, and I'm excited going forward. And I think that's true of everyone. I think we're all kind of coming together and just realizing if we all pour into each other that there's no limit to what we can do.
One last question.
Talia, obviously a very different situation at Oregon State, but a special season, especially with the way you guys finished last year. What can you take from that and apply to where this team is now?
I think the culture. I think Scott Ruick did an amazing job building a real family culture. And, you know, it's a little different having been there for 10 plus years. You know, he built that over a long time. So you can't really expect the program to have that in just a few years. But I think that I learned a lot about, like I said, having hard conversations and the vulnerability that you have to have with each other and as a team to really generate that closeness. It's not really something you can fake. And I think getting closer to each other and really opening up, like you feel that when you're on the court, that synergy, I believe in that. So I think having that experience at Oregon State and seeing, you know, what it led my team to do going to the Elite Eight last year, a lot of that was, you know, there was a lot of team meetings, there was a lot of heart-to-hearts, hard conversations, making sure everyone's on the same page, even if, you know, we're not best friends off the court. Like, we know that we got each other all the time. So, yeah, I think the last couple of weeks we're really starting to see us as a team turn that corner, and I think that's going to be the key in March. So I think just it's a culture thing, and we're continuing to build that and work on that, and I think it's starting to show.